This is the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, September 12th. Please stand for our invocation led by Public Safety Chaplain Patricia Evans and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us bow our heads for a word of prayer. Most gracious and loving Father, we do bless and praise your holy name, O God, today. So, God, we thank you, God, for allowing us to assemble today together, God. God, we ask, Lord God, that there be peace in this meeting, Lord God, that there be unity, Lord God, and Lord God, that we will accomplish, Lord God, the things that need to be accomplished today. We pray, God, for our policemen and our fire department for protection for them. And we pray, oh Heavenly Father, for the mayor of this great city, God. Lead him and guide him. And God, we thank you and we trust you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, President Small. Vice President Gregory.
Here.
Councilmember Penn.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll. Here. Councilmember Reynolds.
Here.
Councilmember Daves.
Here.
Councilmember Woods.
Here.
Statement of rules.
Good morning, everybody. Morning. In this smaller meeting room, it certainly makes it seem like we have a packed house, and we do in this room. So we have some guests here today that I'm sure we'll meet shortly. So welcome to our City Council meeting. Our President, C.J. Small, is out of town today. The statement of rules, our rules are very simple, but I will go through them just to make sure that everybody understands what the rules of procedure are for our meetings. Anyone who desires to address the council must register upon entering the meeting area, which is right outside, right at the door. When addressing the council, the speaker has to give us their name for the record. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to address the council. A bell will sound to indicate the end of 2 minutes. Then 1 minute is allowed to summarize. When the second bell indicates the time then has expired. To maintain decorum, there will be no undue applause and/or public outcry allowed. When addressing the council, there will be no personal address to any individual council member. All statements are to be made to the chair, who will recognize any council member then who wishes to respond. Any person who desires to speak to the council on a non-agenda item must contact the city clerk's office no later than 2:00 p.m. on the Thursday prior to the Tuesday meeting. The subject that you wish to address must be identified, and any person who attends the meeting who has not given the proper notice to the clerk's office and wishes to speak on a non-agenda item will not be allowed to do so. Those people who desire to speak on the agenda items must indicate the resolution, the ordinance, the appeal, or public hearing item on arrival when signing in for that meeting. With that then, I will turn it over to our clerk, Ms. Lisa Lambert. Thank you.
Approval of minutes, September the 5th.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Communications from Mayor Stimson.
Good morning.
Morning.
Certainly good to see everybody here. Sorry that my back is to you today, but you know, y'all can see that we have a whole bunch of guests here, and they're here for a very special reason. And so I would ask them all to join me, and it has to do with Jay and Brooke Nicholas and Aubrey's Armory. If y'all can just come forward and kind of fill in around the side, but also those who represent the Children and Women's Hospital, Ronald McDonald House, Camp Rappahope, and iHeartRadio. Anybody representing those groups? Can y'all also come forward, please? Yep. There's some room over here on this side too. Okay, so we have a lot of very special people in our community that contribute a lot of their time, their effort, their energy, their resources to making Mobile a better place to live. But probably childhood cancer is probably one of the most heart-rending things that exist in our community, certainly among others. So the proclamation today has to do with Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and it reads, whereas every September we mark Childhood Cancer Awareness Month to educate and bring awareness to this issue and highlight the need for more funding for research. And whereas statistics show that 1 in every 285 children in the United States has cancer, nearly every 2 minutes a child is diagnosed with cancer, more children are lost to cancer in the United States than any other disease, and yet less than 4% of the National Cancer Institute research budget is allocated to cure childhood cancer. And whereas in Mobile, resources in Mobile to help children with cancer include treatment at the University Children's and Women's Hospital and the Mitchell Cancer Institute, housing at Ronald McDonald House of Mobile, fun activities at Camp Rappahoe, funding events hosted by Joy of Life on the Gulf Coast, Barry Strong Foundation, Aubrey's Army Foundation, Miracle on the Bay, and Operation Superhero, a yearly event hosted by the Mobile Police Department. And whereas it is important, more important than ever, that we acknowledge the devastating impact these diseases are having on our young people and their families. Now, therefore, I, William S. Stimson, the 108th Mayor of the City of Mobile, do hereby proclaim September 2023 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in the City of Mobile. And I urge all citizens to keep these children and families in your hearts and just this month and every month, not just this month, but every month, and support the many organizations by serving them and keeping them in your prayers. Thank you very much. And so I would ask Aubrey, Jay and Brooke to please come forward. And really, all of y'all come, and we'll have a picture made if y'all will all come this way. Everybody that's involved, come stand right here.
On behalf of Aubrey's Army and all those in the fight and those that help the children in the fight, we just like to thank y'all for recognizing, the fact that there are people out there in the battle. We are all aware. Most everyone in this room has been impacted, so we're aware. So it doesn't take September, but thank you guys for helping everybody else realize that there are little bitty children fighting a fight. There are people fighting for those children. There are people raising funds for the lack of funds that exist for research. So it's these steps that help bring it to light, and we thank you.
Okay, so I would ask Shamika Brown, Roberta Swan, and Webb Jackson to please come forward. Oh, I'm sorry. Apologize. Excuse me, Webb Jackson was supposed to be here for childhood cancer. I apologize for that. Yeah, excuse me. So, Roberta?
She couldn't make it.
Okay, good. Good to see you, Shamika. Yeah, thank you. Good to see you. Thank you. Okay, and the proclamation has to do with the National Estuaries Week. Whereas National Estuaries Week is an annual celebration and campaign to increase public awareness of estuaries to encourage people to become involved in the protection of our important natural resources. And whereas the Mobile Bay National Estuary Program joins Restore America's Estuaries, the Association of National Estuary Program, NOAA's Office for Coastal Management, and others to celebrate National Estuaries Week in 2023 with the theme, Wade In. And whereas the Mobile Bay National Estuaries Program is to raise awareness for the importance of coastal Alabama's estuaries to encourage people to visit and enjoy our local waterways and learn about the many benefits estuaries provide. And whereas there are many ways to become involved, such as hosting a community cleanup, hiking, biking, having an event in your local estuary, or by sharing your support on social media. Therefore, Now, I, that William S. Stimson, the 108th Mayor of the City of Mobile, do hereby proclaim September 16th through 23rd, 2023 as National Estuaries Week. So let's wade in. Congratulations. Thank y'all. Would you like to make some remarks, Mayor? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mayor, City Council. We just want to say thank you for being partners with the Mobile Bay National Estuary Program. And just like the proclamation said, just encouraging others to go out and hike and bike and get into our coastal waterways because they're so important. And we just want to make sure that everyone is aware of Estuaries Week and what Mobile and Baldwin County has to offer. So thank you so much.
So is Webb Jackson still here? So my remarks today are focused on, some of them are focused on the accreditation of the Mobile Fire Rescue Department. Y'all know they are now an accredited agency status from the Commission of Fire Accreditation. We've said this, but you know, the citizens of Mobile, what it means for them is that when our fire department responds, it's the best of the best showing up. They can expect a quick response, and they can also expect the utmost in professionalism as we continue to try to improve our services to all the citizens. I want to thank all the men and women in the department that played a part of this. But I would have to say that, you know, the leadership set the goal and the task of achieving this accreditation. So let's give a big round of applause to all of them. Last week, we finally announced what the garbage routes were going to be for those in the annexed area. So they now have all had their garbage, or they're in the process of delivering garbage cans now. The routes are attached to it. For those citizens that are new and maybe still haven't gotten their garbage can, they can either call 311 or go on the city's website and look at the routes. And so beginning October 2nd, we will start picking up trash and garbage in the annexed area. We have had several meetings with the new citizens to explain all the delivery of services, show them how to interact with the city, and so I think that we're off to a great start. We're certainly in a good place right now. What has kind of happened over the series of meetings, the first couple we had were attended by probably 100, 125 people. And then each time, you know, it's kind of, the crowd got smaller because word started disseminating in the community of how we were going to do this. So anyway, a great step toward starting to really be citizens and us providing the services. Well, they're all citizens now, okay? But we'll be providing them services, all the services as of October 2nd. So at this time, I'd like to, I think we have an employee of the month, Jim DeLapp.
Thank you, Mayor. This morning, it's my pleasure to have some folks come forward and recognize our employees of the month for Public Works. And first, we'll start out with Shad Collins introducing Miss Karen Sullivan, who's a Office Assistant 1 in our Parks and Rec Senior in Therapeutics. Shad.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, administration, ladies and gentlemen of the City Council, and all the citizens in attendance. It is my honor to acknowledge Ms. Karen Sullivan, better known as Ms. Kathy Sullivan. She's an OA1 at County Hudson Senior Center. She's been there for over 15 years. When the doors open at County Hudson, the first face you see is Ms. Karen sitting at the desk, and she greets everybody with a smile. When asked by her fellow employees to describe her, they say she's very punctual and meticulous. Ms. Karen Sullivan, she will go out the way to make sure all the participants have a great experience when they come into County Hudson. So without any further ado, I'd like to present Ms. Karen Sullivan, Ms. Kathy.
Say a few words.
It's just a real honor and privilege. I thank everyone for this honor, and I just enjoy what I do.
Well said. Next, I'd like to have, I think Shayla Biko is going to come forward and introduce our Public Works at Large, Ms. Lori Dickinson, who's the Secretary 1.
Good morning. On behalf of the Employee Engagement Committee, we are pleased to recognize Ms. Lori Dickinson as our Public Works at Large Employee of the Month. Lori has been with the city for 16 years as a Secretary 1. She's a consistent presence in the permitting division, is usually the first point of contact for our Mobile customers. She is customer service oriented, focusing on the wants and needs of our customers to ensure that they have a positive experience with the city. Lori is the preferred point of contact to register our electrical contractors, and she gathers all of the information needed on their first visit with permitting. She takes time out of her day to ensure that all of our customers are treated properly, and she does that for us day in and day out. Lastly, Lori is exceptionally generous. Last year, she canceled a week of vacation so that she could donate her hours toward catastrophic leave to assist a city employee in serious need. So this act alone truly speaks volumes to Lori's character, compassion, and devotion to her fellow coworkers. Please join me in congratulating Lori Dickinson.
To Mayor Stimson, City Council, and all administrative, and Ms. Shayla, Mr. DeLapp, Frank Palumbo, David, Peggy, Lisa, Shanavia, and all those that are mentors to me, that when they see that if I'm accidentally giving the customer wrong information, or information has changed since a new administration or what have you, they're kind enough in a professional way to say, hey, Miss Lori, that has changed. Here's new documentation, and then that way I'm able to go back to that customer and say, my sincere apologies, I gave you outdated information, it has now changed, and this is how we do things now to help you succeed in 2023 and in the future. Thank you all for your service. If I don't say it every day, I do appreciate you, and you're a mentor to me.
Great. Now we'll, last but not least, we'll have, let's see, Jeff Dees is going to come up and speak about Jimmy Davis, who's in our sanitation department. He's the equipment operator 3. So, Jeff?
Good morning. This is Jimmy Davis. He's a sanitation driver for the sanitation trucks. He's been with us right at 2 years. Jimmy's one of our hardest workers. He's probably the best one we have for getting his job done correctly. He's a model employee. He inspires others to work, to do a better job, to improve the department. He's a great communicator with the residents. He communicates well. We get lots of good comments back from the residents. He's very dependable. He has great leadership skills and communicates very well. Mr. Jimmy Davis.
Well, to the mayor, city councils, everybody else in their prospective places, I just want to say thank you. It's been a joy and an honor to serve the community and the citizens. I just want to say thank you all for this. Thank you.
That concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. And before we move forward, I just want to remind everyone to please silence or turn off any of your electronic devices. This is a smaller room, so it's easy to hear if they should happen to go off. So please turn those off or silence them. Thank you. Ms. Lambert?
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Appeals, we have requests for a waive the noise ordinance on October the 15th on Spring Hill Avenue, September 22nd on Selma Street, October 7th in Cathedral Square, October 1st in Medal of Honor Park, October the 28th in Public Safety Memorial Park.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Public hearings. Today is a public hearing to declare the structure at 117 North Ann Street a public nuisance and order it demolished.
This is a public hearing. If there is anyone who would like to speak to this particular address, please come to the podium. All right, the public hearing is closed.
Public hearing to declare the structure at 1112 Newman Lane a public nuisance and order it demolished.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to speak to this particular address, please come on down to the podium and just give us your name, please.
Raynita Smith.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm here to talk about 1112 Newman Lane. Just as a start, and I was here probably about 3 or 4 months ago for 2661 Knoll Street. So I have 40 houses in the city of Mobile, so, and I pride myself on my business. I'm not egregious with any of my properties or anything like that. But just so happened I had purchased some properties. I was trying something new with the tax sale. Purchased quite a few properties. They kind of all came in at one time, and so I'm trying to navigate through that. Just the other day, I was able to get a house, 1719 Noble Drive. I was able to get possession of that property through the courts. So I know I'm skipping a few items, but I did a project at 67 Mack Street. I went in there and I put maybe about $60,000 into that project. And once I completed it, somebody that was watching me, who was a family of that property, they came back and tried to redeem it. And one of the things that they claimed was, even though I did adverse possession because the property was open to the public, they said that I didn't get proper possession. So we ended up making a deal, and they ended up giving me, and this is public record, they ended up giving me $35,000 with about $55,000 in about 6 months of my own time. So I've kind of learned not to go into these houses, even though they're in my name now, not to go into these houses and put too much money into it. So I'm really asking for about a 6-month to 8-month extension while I go through all the properties that have come to me through this, through the tax sale, and I'm working with my lawyer, Mike Langen, and we're navigating through this right now. So once I get proper possession, I do feel at a minimum I should go in, and it would cost me hardly nothing to go in and at least stabilize the property, do the yards, and do those other things so that it's not a nuisance. Another thing I'd like to try to put out here is that all this stuff with this nuisance abatement, it was done before this transferred into my name. So it's not like I was able to get notifications. I literally just got a notification. You've got 45 days. It's in this department. It's very hard to navigate through it, and it's just something that I need time to situate. But for sure, by next year, I will have, I would say 6 months, because, right around Christmas and all that, the courts really kind of shut down. It's hard to navigate through a lot of these things.
Okay, I understand, but it's difficult to navigate through a number of houses. However, we are here today to speak to this one particular home.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is in District 2. I imagine you would like to speak to this, Mr. Carroll?
How long have you owned the property?
It was still in court, so I guess the last few months, because when I went down to get the deed from the place, the original owner held it. They have an opportunity to pay like $20 and hold it. So really, I would say probably about maybe like 4 or 5 months, they've actually transferred that back over to me.
Is David here, David Dockenbach? David, what's your recommendation on this property? And does this one fall into the same situation as the previous owner, where we actually had to tear the house down no matter what? As the previous property we had, a week or so ago?
Municipal enforcement's position is that...
David, can you get on the microphone, please? We can't hear.
Municipal enforcement's position is to move forward and have the house either secured or it needs to be demolished. The condition that it's in, it does need to be addressed immediately. Now, we have served notice, and we did pick up you as the tax lien purchaser, so you did receive notice, which you acknowledged. But no, at this point, we could not wait 6 months to have something substantially done to this structure. Now, Mr. Carroll, you're asking how much time from when we mail the notice. We have 120 days, so we've got 60 days if we'd like to hold it over for the new owner, since you're trying to get owner your deed to the property, not just a tax lien, which would give right of possession. Then she could begin preparing the house. Now, if you want to entertain that 60 days for her to do that, I'm in favor of that.
Mr. Carroll?
Um, 60 days to clear the deed and start the process?
Yes, sir. We need a permit and then a scope of the project.
How close are you to getting a permit on this project, clearing the deed?
With this particular property, they've actually transferred the deed now. It went through court and it was given to me an actual deed to the property. It's just being able to navigate and do everything. I didn't receive 120 days ago anything. I've just about 3 weeks ago, I signed the paperwork because they start the process from the date that they actually mail it out, not the date that you actually receive it. And you know, they do certified, so they want you to go and sign for it. So when I received it, I had about 3 weeks to this date. I've received no prior notice because whatever notice they were sending, they must have been sending it to the previous owners. I'm 3 weeks into this. That's it.
So you do have a clear deed?
They give you a deed, but it's not.
So 30 days will be enough to secure and stabilize the property instead of 60. You have that amount of time, you can get a permit, stabilize the property, secure it off, clean it up, and then wait on your construction process.
They don't give you, they block the, and I had this, only reason I know this because just so happened I had this situation with 2661 North Street. When they put it into this program, they actually block that process. So it takes time to navigate through that, and that was the problem I had last time. They actually put a hold on to that until a person can actually go out with you and go through that process. They make it, it's very difficult once you obtain something. Right here, he knows this. They put a hold on the.
David, who is that?
They would be the city of Mobile. We have a process.
So have we blocked her from getting a permit?
We're getting to that. We have a process to put a hold on the parcel, so no permit is issued without coordination with municipal enforcement. We do not stop permits being issued. We just want to make sure that what is being permitted covers the condition of the building. Sometimes people will get just a re-roof when the entire building is collapsing. Now, I do want to say I was mistaken. She has more than just a tax lien. A tax deed was issued on September 19th of 2022, so she does have right of entry.
She has right of entry? She does. So 30 days wouldn't be a problem to get all of this. You guys will release this today. She can get it permit tomorrow. Okay. I'm going to ask the council to allow only 30 days and not 60. And let's have her take 30 days and get on it right away, get it secured. That doesn't mean you have to start renovations. That means that you have to secure the property so that it's not a nuisance to anyone else.
Yes, sir.
Madam Vice President?
Yes, sir.
On our agenda today, it says for this property to order it demolished, not secured, so an amendment may be required to that declaration.
Well, I think laying it over 30 days with her submitting a permit with a scope of work says that it's more than demolition. It's actually a restoration project, which takes it well beyond what nuisance abatement is. So I think to say that a demolition wouldn't require an amendment here, it'd be a total restoration.
Okay, so 30 days.
30 days.
And that's correct. If the permit is issued and work begins to secure, we'll table the application altogether, the petition.
Okay, anyone else? All right, thank you, 30 days.
Thank you.
Public hearing to declare the structure at 325 East I-65 Service Road public nuisance and order it demolished or
This is-
secured.
Okay, this is a public hearing. If anyone in the audience would like to speak to this particular property, please come to the podium. Okay, with that, the public hearing is closed.
Public hearing to declare the structure at 259 Border Drive West a public nuisance and order it demolished.
If this is a public hearing, if there's anyone who would like to speak to the property, please come to the podium.
Good morning. I'm Andrew Monahan. I'm with Tiffany & Bosco, law firm out of Birmingham. I represent Wells Fargo, who has a mortgage. We did receive notice of this hearing. Is this Ms. Kennedy? Yes. I haven't been able to get in touch with Ms. Kennedy. I did talk to Inspector Williams about this property, and I believe there's something going on with the property. You can come up as well.
Yes, won't you come
She
up?
probably has a lot more to say about this than I do.
Okay.
I'm Nancy Kennedy. I am in the process of selling my property to Jacob Hartley of Prime Design Homes, LLC. The closing is set for Wednesday, September the 20th. I've informed Inspector Williams, and it's my understanding that he also has spoken with Mr. Hartley as well.
All right, David.
Municipal enforcement is happy with the sale of the property for the redevelopment. Or are you planning on redeveloping or demolishing? He is.
He is.
He is.
Okay. But we can do that.
He's going to demolish and then build a new home on the property.
If we would like to table it 30 days or 60 days for that to occur, we'd be happy to do so.
Okay, we can table it, no date certain, correct, Lisa? Just table it, and then if we need to bring it back up after that, we can, if you will stay in touch with everybody. Okay, thank you.
To update the council, if there is a sale and no action is taken, we will restart with the new
Yes.
owner.
Exactly. Everybody okay with that? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Public hearing, oh, have to close it.
Anyone else on this particular property? Okay, the public hearing is closed.
Public hearing to assent to a vacation of a 40-foot undeveloped portion of a service road bordering 3812 and 3820 Cottage Hill Road.
This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak to this particular item, please come to the podium.
Madam Chairman, members of the council, I'm the attorney representing Greg Darling and Ann Darling. This is a 40-foot undeveloped, unused remainder of the service road in that area. There are no plans to build a structure. Mr. Darling wants that as additional footage for his yard. And the amended vacation for petition has been filed, and I'm mainly here to answer any questions that the council may have. Before I stop talking, though, I would like to say Lana over here was unbelievably patient with this attorney who has not done a lot of these vacations for right-of-ways, and I can't thank her enough. She is really an asset to you guys, and I'm just can't thank her enough. And if you all have any questions, I'm more than happy to try to attempt to answer them.
May we have your name for the record, please?
Robert Clute, attorney for Gregory J. Darling and Ann M. Darling. The other petitioners that are on the vacation petition live all the way across Cottage Hill Road, and they're joining it as a favor because the way the definitions are, they were an abutting landowner, which I'm not sure I understand how that's possible, being located all the way across Cottage Hill Road. But in any event, they have joined in the petition.
All right, any questions, Mr. Daves? Any comments?
Thank you so much, y'all.
Thank you. Mr. Reynolds?
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the map. I don't see this right away. Is there a road developed there in this right away?
No, it's just a remainder from a service road that went unused, which other portions have already been vacated. There is attached to the petition, there's a complete survey, shows exactly where it is, and Hopefully that answers your question.
And this is not an R1 property.
No, no, this is a commercial property. I spent some time a year or so ago looking into this and talking with Mr. Darling about it, and I'm completely in favor of it.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, y'all.
Close the public hearing.
Pardon me? Oh, I'm sorry. If there's no one else who would like to speak to this property, the public hearing is closed.
Public hearing to consider a vacation of right-of-way fee as a condition of the vacation of the 40-foot undeveloped portion of a service road bordering 3812 and 3820 Cottage Hill Road.
This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak to this item, please come to the podium. Okay, with that, the public hearing is closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Carolina Dallas.
Good morning.
Morning.
Two things I wanted to discuss today. Well, first, my name is Carolina Dallas. I live in 71 West Chickasaw, Alabama, 36611. Two things I wanted to discuss today. One, I wanted to discuss the Justice for Jay cause that is happening. Everyone probably familiar with my brother being tased July 2nd to death. We have yet to see the
Ms.
video.
Dallas?
Yes.
You signed up to speak to stimulus payments to city residents to combat inflation. We would like for you to stick to that.
Okay, I can. So the second thing I wanted to speak about was we see the infrastructures that's going on in the city. We see the new developments. We know that y'all trying to do something with transportation, make better better routes, fix the streets. We see the budgets for the small business owners. I've been on the website, I see everything, and it is looking good. However, I feel like Mobile should pour into the community, the people, as well as the community. I did say something about a stimulus package. I don't have a name for it, but I would like for everyone to come together and find funding for the people because there is an inflation going on and it's impacting everyone. So that's what I wanted to discuss. Funding for the community, the people themselves, not just the buildings, not just the roads, not just for the business owners, not for just the hospitals, but the people. I want you all to feed into the people just as much as you feed into Mobile.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Appreciate you coming down.
Do anybody have any questions?
No, and that would be my question. But if that's all, we appreciate you coming, and you can have a seat. I don't think there are any questions from the council.
Okay, thank you.
Carla Lett.
Good morning. Just a question. Can I have my family and friends for support behind me, if you don't mind?
No, just you, but if you'd like for them to stand up, that's fine.
Okay.
Anybody
With my
here with
family
Ms.
and
Lett? All right, a lot of people. Okay, thank you.
Good morning to the mayor,
Y'all can sit, thank you.
city council, and staff. My name is Carla Lett. To esteemed members of the city council, I express my sincere gratitude for the opportunity to address you today with a heavy heart and unwavering commitment to progress. I stand before you to underscore the critical need to bolster safety measures at our railroad crossings, specifically focusing on the Forest Hill Drive location. The tragic event that unfolded on May 27, 2023 at the Forest Hill Drive Railroad crossing has left an indelible mark on our community. The untimely passing of James Lett, a young life full of promise, has ignited an urgency for change that cannot be ignored. In the wake of this incident, we find ourselves at crossroads, a moment where we must harmlessly connect strength to transform adversity into a catalyst for resilience. Rather than assigning blame, our focus must be on charting a resolution course forward, one that ensures the safety of our community members and safeguards against such tragedies. The memory of James Lett spurs us to take unwavering action. Let us stand together and advocate for the implementation of a cross guard at Forest Hill Drive location. This proactive step is an embodiment of our community to change and our determination to prevent future harm. By supporting this measure, we pay tribute to James Lett Jr.'s memory, a craft of legacy of safety for our community. The significance of this undertaking cannot be overstated. It signifies our steadfast resolve to prioritize the well-being of all who will traverse this crossing. In closing, I respectfully urge each distinguished council member to recognize the profound impact of this matter by demonstrating our dedication to enhancing safety measures at railroad crossings. We embody the spirit of unity and progress that defines our community.
Thank you, Ms. Lett. We appreciate you coming down and speaking to us today about this. And it is tragic that it takes something like what happened to your family in order to get the kind of attention that we all deserve at these railroad crossings. When I heard about it, I spoke to some of the residents, I think probably some of your neighbors, about the Forest Hill issue with crossing arms, and we did put in a request to try to get crossing arms put at that particular area, as well as other crossing arms throughout the city. It's not just Forest Hill Drive that has these issues.
Correct.
And I have asked the administration if they will address it for us to help us better understand what it takes to get these crossing arms at the various railroad tracks working with the railroad. So I think Attorney Ricardo Woods is here to help explain some of that.
Okay, and as family, I'm his mother, his mother, James Lett Jr.'s mother. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
First and foremost, ma'am, you have our condolences. Madam Vice President, so as you asked, I'll explain. The city doesn't control, nor do we mandate those railroad crossings. We can't install them, nor can we force the railroads to install them. But what we can do is consistently ask, and with consideration and say, this is what we want to do, and make those calls. So a call from each district council person. Also, when the family wants to join in and make those ask as well, we can do that, and we can stay on top of it that way. And when we're dealing with any improvements that need to be put into that area, we can coordinate with the railroads, but we can't force them. That's all controlled by federal law and controlled by the railroads themselves.
Well, I know the administration has put in a request to the railroad to work on this, and we need to put some pressure on them to see if we can't get them to move or to allow us in some way, shape, or form to do some work as well, because Forest Hill is an issue, as we know, but there are other similar places throughout the city. So if there's anything that we can do as a whole, we need to try to do that.
Understood.
Yes, sir, Mr. Penn?
Thank you, Mrs. Lett, for coming. My condolences to your family. Mr. Woods, who would the constituents, or who would they send that information to, so we know where we could put that information out, where they can write letters or call?
So one of two ways: either they can send it directly to the council person, but I would probably say it's better for the council person to distribute the information and then have the citizens reach out directly. Just a coordinated effort.
Yeah. Okay. So I definitely will like to join and send a letter. We have this issue not just in that particular area, but throughout my district as well. And I think it's moments like this that we realize that we are stronger together, and we need to write letters, we need to call, we need to put that information out so we can create change and not just ask, but demand. Of course, we can't force it, but when they see the numbers, I think that creates a demand. So thank you so much for coming down.
I think one thing we can do, Ms. Lett, is working with our communications person, Ashley Flores over here, put information in our newsletters with an address so that we can, as a whole, as a council and our constituents, reach out to the people at the railroad to help make that decision, to put some pressure on them to do what we need to do. And again, thank you for coming down, and you do have our condolences. Thank you to the family and friends for being here with us today. We appreciate it. And this council is behind you, and we will do what we can to create that change you need. Thank you.
Tara McCook.
Good morning. Thank you all for the opportunity to be here today. So I took time from work to come down here because this is such an exciting time to be a Mobilian. There is so much going on. We've been talking about it all day.
Sorry, 1 second, please.
Sure. Oh, did I not state my name? I'm sorry. My name is Tara McCook.
I think you did, but the audio in here is a little fuzzy, so it's kind of hard to understand sometimes.
Sure. Let me start over again. My name is Tara McCook, MCC. Oh, okay.
Hey, Ms. McCook, can you wait just a second?
Certainly.
I'm sorry, we have some people who are leaving. We'll let them go ahead and exit, and then get you to start over. All righty. I'm going to close the door. Thank you. Sorry about that.
No worries. No worries. Okay. Are we good? Okay. My name is Tara McCook. Thank y'all for the opportunity to be here today. As we've said throughout the course of the meeting, and it's easy to see, this is a time of growth, progress, and excitement in this city. There's so much to be proud of. We have just welcomed a whole bunch of new citizens to this city. And that's why it's incredibly frustrating as a citizen to see social media and cable news campaigns targeting our neighbors over who they are and threatening our library over things that aren't even true. Look, I'm from this city. I grew up here. My daddy taught in Mobile County Public Schools and worked at Channel 10. I went to Leinkoff, I went to Azalea, I went to Murphy. I've lived here a long time. LGBT Mobilians are Mobilians. End of story. These are our neighbors. These are our friends. These are our family members. We live next door to each other. We worship together. We work together. We play together. Every Mobilian, all 200,000 plus of us matter. We deserve a community that serves us. We deserve institutions that serve us, and we do not have time to be divided by lies on social media and cable news, by people who don't live here, who don't care about us, and have no investment in this community whatsoever. It's time to grow. It's time to invest in railroad crossings and infrastructure and things that matter to the city, all 200,000 plus of us. It's time to welcome our new neighbors and concentrate on the future. We don't need to be divided. There's no time for that. So I trust that the administration and the council will work with that frame of mind to be united together for all 200,000 plus Mobilians and not a loud, tiny fraction of people ginned up by social media. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Madam President.
Yes, sir, Mr.
Madam
Daves.
Chairwoman.
You can have a seat, Ms. McCoy. Thank you.
I appreciate you being here today, Ms. Cook. Whenever someone speaks to us, we have to look and say, is this something we have control over? Because we're not omnipotent. We don't have control over everything. We certainly don't have control over what's happening on social media and the internet. I've been a city council person for 10 years. In that period of time, I don't recall any instance where the city council has failed to defend the rights of the individuals you're talking about, and in some instances has taken action to preserve their rights. So I think the city council has demonstrated its commitment to provide a high quality life to every citizen of the city of Mobile, regardless of their orientation. Thank you.
Anybody else? Mr. Carroll?
Yes, Mr. President, I concur with Joel there, but let me go a little bit further than that. I'm not so far to the left to where I'm a super liberal guy with super far left ideas, and I'm sure not so far to the right where I'm some radical conservative guy. I am a city councilman who believes that everybody in this city just wants to be happy and wants to be able to live, and wants to be able to live in a community where it is supported by its government. And I believe that the administration's choice to support or even provide the 2 seats for the liaisons was a good choice. It's unfortunate that sometimes that every group wants their own liaison, and we can't provide for every group in the city to have its own liaison within the city. But that was a good choice, because morally, no matter what you think morally, you know, we have a responsibility to represent everybody in this city, no matter what their lifestyle is. So simply put, all of us want everybody to be happy. And to go as far as to say that this council has not represented the Pride community in the past, I mean, I'm proud of this, and I'll tell you this before I've even been a Grand Marshal of the Pride Parade. So I am not opposed to representing and having our government stand foot strong in representation of everyone in this community. Thank you, Ms.
All right, anybody else? All right, thank you. Ms. Lambert?
Thomas Holmes.
My name is Thomas Holmes. I reside in Council District 6, 2117 Charingwood Drive West in Mobile. I spoke before this council in September and October of 2022. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you again today. I'm the board president for the ARC of Mobile County, which is a small membership-based 501c3 nonprofit organization advocating for the needs of individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities in Mobile. I'm here today to advocate for my son and the other 150 plus individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities who lost their community services in March 2020. These 150 plus individuals and their families received community services from the former Mobile Association for the Retarded Citizens before its merger with Alta Point Health System in July 2019. In March 2020, Alta Point canceled these services for all but 77 individuals whose community services were later transitioned away from Alta Point in 2022 to another Mobile service provider. The remaining 150 plus individuals were sent home to be cared for by a parent, a sibling, or other family member till the services were resumed. Many of these caregivers were forced to give up their employment and therefore the income to their family. The ARC of Mobile County has now developed plans for a new community day service program. We need and request the support of the mayor and city council to move forward with these plans. In fiscal 2017-2018, the City of Mobile Council approved an appropriation of $55,315 to the former Mobile Association. We request the City of Mobile approve a similar appropriation for fiscal 23-24 to the ARC of Mobile County. We're also seeking funding resources from the Mobile County Commission, the United Way of Southwest Alabama, and the Alabama Department of Mental Health. When these resources are committed, the ARC of Mobile County will implement a community day program that will serve up to 20 individuals with plans to expand these services as other federal, state, and local services become available. The ARC of Mobile County does not own any real property, so we'll be leasing a building that can meet the building standards of the Department of Mental Health. Also, we do not own any transportation vehicles, so we will be securing transportation services to assist in carrying out our plans. We're applying for certification as a mental health community service provider. The ARC of Mobile County is committed to building a new community program for individuals with intellectual developmental disabilities. We're committed to being transparent and accountable for all public funds provided. We're committed to reporting back to this council on a regular basis the services being delivered and the number of individuals being served. Thank you for your consideration. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. And before I open it up for any questions, if the officers in the back would make sure that while we have speakers down here, that people aren't going in and out the door. Smaller room, it just interferes with us being able to hear the speakers. So if you would just, keep them from coming in and out, would appreciate it. Thank you, appreciate it. I do have a quick question. You mentioned last year, the city appropriated, what, 55,000 for your group, correct?
It appropriated that in 2017, 2018. That's the last year.
Oh, that was the last year, okay.
Well, it's not the last year you appropriated money for those services. It's just the last year we have accurate information.
Did you approach the administration this year for a performance contract?
We have not. We've just gotten to the point of developing this plan to move forward, and so that's where we're starting today with you.
Because I remember you came to us last year about this time to try to get some funding, correct?
No, last year we were just talking about the,
Well, you were
the
talking
fact
about
that
it, right,
the services had been
Right.
curtailed.
Okay,
And they have not been resumed for these 150-plus families.
right. So you're asking the council then for $55,000?
Right.
And you intend to ask the county?
Right. If we secure the funds that were given in 2017, 2018, from the county, the United Way, and the State Department of Mental Health, we'll have over $400,000 to start up, which will allow us to.
Right. But you have not gone to those agencies
We're
yet?
starting with the city.
Starting with the city?
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. Let's open up the floor. Mr. Carroll, go ahead.
In between pre-council and the council meeting today, I've had the opportunity to both speak with Turk and with April. Alta Point is going to commit the $55,000 and change to MARC for the restart of your program. In order to ensure that, I'm going to ask that the administration, out of the $650,000 performance contract that they get, earmark that portion of it. And that agreement was reached in between 9:30 and 10:30 today. So the first step is on the way.
Now, let me ask a question. Will that money flow through Alta Point? If so, we do not want it.
Well,
We have a bad heartburn with Alta Point. Do not want to have any connection with them.
Let's take the win right now, and we'll figure out how that's going to flow. Maybe we can deduct that being that they've agreed to the apportionment. That's something that the administration and Alta Point can work out. But let's take it now to know that that $55,000 and change will be coming to MARC.
All right. Thank you.
Yes.
Madam Vice President.
Mr. Reynolds?
You mentioned in your comments that these 155 folks that lost their services, 77 or so went to Alta Point, and then they were then handed off to another organization.
Right.
What was the name of that other organization?
Volunteers of America Southeast.
Okay.
I understand that the Mobile Association was serving 230 individuals when the merger occurred. And what happened in 2020 is when the pandemic hit, they chose these 77 individuals who are the most highly functional individuals with intellectual disabilities to serve them. And then they served them for about 6 months and then decided they could not afford, well, shouldn't put words in their mouth, but they cut the services and then handed off those services to Volunteers of America. And those people are still being served by them as far as I know.
Also, Mr. Carroll, you had mentioned $655,000 allocated to Alta Point. They are currently budgeted to receive $600,000, not $655,000.
Okay. Well, we'll just take it out of the 600. That's just a technicality. In my mind, I think I remember we gave them $650,000 a year or so, so that number must have changed. At one point, it was $1.2 million, so they've been cut in half over the last 10 years. So in that money, there was a portion of that was supposed to go to MARC anyway, and they've agreed to have that money go to MARC, so we'll take it out of whatever line item they have, and let's get it straight with the administration and with Alta Point. It's in their hands now.
Mr. Reynolds?
Well, just based on his comments that essentially not willing to work with Alta Point. Is that, do I understand you correctly?
Well, let me just say, Alta Point committed, I was a member of the former Mobile Association Board, the only one that voted against the merger, because it was not good for the people, people who were members. A lot of people don't understand, as a membership-based organization, the members govern the selection of a board, the selection of officers, that sort of thing. That didn't happen. None of the members were consulted. So Alta Point committed to continue these services in return for the transfer of all of the real estate, all of the vehicles, all of the property that had been developed by the Mobile Association since 1956 in return for keeping the services going. And then they turned around and used the pandemic.
Mr. Holmes, I'm going to interrupt you here. We have a Finance Committee meeting this afternoon,
Okay.
and we will go through this. I think we understand your point and your position.
Okay.
Mr.
Yes,
Woods, you
ma'am.
have-
I just want to say thank you for what you do, Mr. Holmes. Your commitment to that community really says a lot. So thank you, and looking
You're
forward to
welcome. My
watching this
son is
program.
at home today, been with me 24/7, 365 since March 2020.
Okay. The meeting, if you were able to attend, is at 1 o'clock upstairs on the 9th floor. So I would assume that this subject will come up during our committee meeting. So if you would like to attend, you're more than welcome to be there.
Thank you very much.
Well, correct. We are not taking comment, but you would be welcome to be there if anybody had a question for you at that time
Okay.
from the council then.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Madam Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I may not be here at 1 o'clock. Ms. Reynolds, would you make sure that this gets cut the right way?
Well, I look forward to the discussion we're going to have at the Finance Committee meeting, but I share in some of the same concerns, you know, as the speaker, along with you, that, you know, we've got to make sure that that our citizens are taken care of. And there certainly should be a way that we're able to work this out.
So you're saying not take it from the this is a committee meeting question, but no 650, but add it from somewhere else?
I look forward to the discussion at the Finance Committee meeting where we're going to have, you know,
We'll
we'll
look at it.
discuss this item.
Yeah, we'll look at it. All right.
Christine Dallas.
All right. I'm Christine Dallas, the mother of Jawan Dallas, here for transparency and accountability. We have yet to have heard anything from anyone about this video from my son's death. This is becoming a nightmare for me and my family, and we need answers. We need to know what happened to my son on July the 2nd, 2023. I don't know what's going on with the police officers who are involved. No one has made contact with us as of yet about this situation. I'm knowing in my heart that whatever's on that video is horrific because they're hiding it from us. I feel like you all are hiding this video. If we could see the video, we could know exactly how and why my son died that particular night. And I just want you guys to know, until we see this video or until we get some answers, we will be here every week. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Dallas. We appreciate you coming down. I know there are some other speakers, but I'm going to ask you can have a seat. Thank you so much, ma'am. Going to ask our city attorney, Mr. Woods, to please come forward and provide us with an update on the case, the ongoing investigation, and the body cam footage, if you would, please.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. So two things. One, we, as a city and as members of the administration, want to acknowledge the tragic loss of Mr. Dallas's life. That is serious, and we do give our condolences. On the investigation side, we do not have a cause of death at this point, but this has been submitted and will be submitted to a grand jury. What prevents us as the city, that's all of us as a city, from releasing this information is because it's grand jury material. And We've consistently said that. We're not allowed to release it. We don't have the discretion to release it. So specifically, that's Alabama Code 12-16-216, and that's part of the Grand Jury Secrecy Act. It's a pretty long code section and goes on, and specifically it talks about grand jurors, witnesses, and of course, any person involved. We're not allowed to give that information out, but we do agree that the Dallas family and their attorney has standing to see it once that grand jury has come to a conclusion, once that ceases. So we do have those investigations going on. I think it's also important as to why the district attorney has, of course, responded to their lawyer, citing the very code section I just talked about. But what he doesn't cite, and I tell you, this is specifically, I'm going to read from Alabama Code 12-16-225. This is the Grand Jury Secrecy Act. Any person, that's any person, violating the provisions of sections 12-16-215 through 12-16-218, that's the pro section I talked about earlier, of this division, shall be guilty of a felony and shall be punished by imprisonment of not less than 1, no more than 3 years, and fined not more than $5,000 or both. So it is a felony once you have that information in the hands of the grand jury. And so as the city attorney, it is my obligation to not only protect the city, but the people who sit at this table and the people who represent the city. That's the police department, that's you all, that's anybody that may come into contact with this information. Just want to put that out there for you. We do not have the discretion at this moment to do so as long as this grand jury investigation is going forward.
Do you have a timeline on this? Because the family wants to see the video, they should be able to see the video, and yet they haven't, and they are coming to us, the city council, during our meetings asking us to do something. So can you give us a timeline on when you think that might be available for them?
So we're putting a rush on not only toxicology, but trying to push up cause of death. It has not gone to the grand jury at this point. We can tell you that as soon as I can tell you this, as soon as we have that information, the toxicology report in the cause of death, we will try to expedite not only getting that to them, but going through. But the grand jury process is what it is. I can tell you, I would imagine months, and I understand the frustration of continuing to ask, but this body does not have control over that aspect. We can't speed up the timing, we can't speed up the process, and we cannot absolutely, outside of these penalties, make releases.
And I know you had mentioned earlier that the district attorney had sent an opinion or responded by email, I believe to the family's attorney as well, because we had received the correspondence from the family attorney. So will you send us the district attorney's email as well so that we are familiar with what he had to say?
Absolutely, already in the process of doing so, yes, ma'am.
Can you just give us briefly what it said?
What he specifically references that 12-16-216 and said that this is grand jury information, and then once we have a conclusion of the grand jury, then we'll be able to release and talk to the family and the attorney and allow them to see it. So no different than what we've been dealing with before.
All right, thank you.
Norma Moore. Norma Moore.
Good morning. My name is Norma Moore Robinson. I'm on behalf of here speaking. I'm an aunt of Jawan Dallas. I may be repeating some of the things that my niece spoke and some things that the gentleman just spoke on, but we want transparency and accountability Also, we want them to release the tape. We know that it's a grand jury going on, and what we would like to have as the immediate family, we just would like to see the tape privately, the mother, father, sisters, not exposing it out until it's time for to have a grand jury. And it's like the mother, the father, the sister, the brothers, the nieces, the nephews, aunts, they don't have no closure. It's just a few points that I want to address to each and every one. We just wondering, what are the police hiding? Why the tape or videos not shown to the family personally? Do the police department know the family have no closure? The police taken Jawan's life. Why? We want to know why. The family need justice. He didn't deserve to die wrongfully, death under the hands of Mobile, Alabama police. We want to know what happened to the protection of the citizens. Jawan was a man of character. He was a father of children. He was a son of a mother. He was a son of a father. He was a brother to sisters, aunties, uncles, nephews, and he was a friend to the friendless. We need justice for Jawan Dallas. Show the videotape. What are they hiding?
Mrs. Moore, that's your
If that was their son.
Mrs. Moore, that's your time. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Phil Williams.
My name is Phil Williams. I heard the lawyer say something about, but we study being lied to. We study being lied to. We didn't even have the opportunity to identify our soul and body. Everything's based around grand jury. They say Jawan, which is my son, was killed from having on some red pants. They were looking for some guys with some red pants on. How can you see some red pants if you're sitting down in a vehicle? He was drugged out the car. He was beaten. He was tased. Show the video, and we'll just go from there. We know Jawan was 200 yards from the crime scene. The people that made the 911 call come and spoke and told the police officer that my son wasn't the guy that was standing at their gate. They also made a statement that they would never like to see anything like that in their life again. That let us know that our son was brutalized, he was murdered. How do you expect for us to abide by the law, and y'all won't even abide by the law? Murder is murder. I don't care who do it. If I lie and give false information to the police right now, that's 6 months in jail. Murder is murder. Our son was killed. We've been violated of all our civil rights. We are taxpayers. We also is voting citizens. Go by the law. The law just don't abide for us. How is it you expect for us to abide by the law, and you can't even abide by the law. The law works both ways. Once you go down the interstate, it just don't go one way. It's a two-way. You might have 3 lanes on this side and 3 lanes on the next side, but you're going like this. We are human, we are citizens, and we tired of this. We sick and tired of being sick and tired. When our kids go outside, we have to tell them, be careful. If the police stop you, just abide by what they say. The law is the law. If the lawmakers can't abide by the law, how should we? We going by what we see. We going by what we hear. Show the video. If it's grand jury material, we know something wrong on the video. You tell us that we're going to see the video, and then you tell us we can't see the video. One thing about it, John Ed Thompson.
Mr. Williams, your time is up.
Can I say one more thing? Just one more thing.
I'll allow.
One more.
John Ed Thompson is one of my favorite newscasts. The way they found out who his attacker was, they seen the video. Show the video, say no more, Justice for Jay.
All right, thank you.
Dr. Roderick Daniel, Van Daniel.
Dr. Roderick Van Daniel from Birmingham, Alabama. I'm one of the attorneys for the Dallas family, Christine Dallas. To the mayor, to the city council, and to the citizens of Mobile. I just heard the statement from the lawyer here, which he also stated that the information, the evidence is not with the grand jury. So how does it apply to the new bill, HB 289, when the evidence haven't been sent to the grand jury? But moving forward, police misconduct and police brutality is a major concern for the citizens of Alabama and all across the United States of America. Facing this form of injustice, this family and this community deserve answers, truthful answers, not confusion from the city and the district attorney's office. Releasing the video to Ms. Christine Dallas will not affect an ongoing investigation nor prosecution. Ms. Dallas deserves an opportunity to view the last moments of her son's life. Jawan Dallas, justice for Jay. She only wants to know the truth so that she can begin healing within her heart. Put yourself in her shoes. You would want the same opportunity. We are tired of the old precedent, the same old precedent. We need to start a new precedent of transparency. We need to elect city officials who can stand up and be the voice for their community, for their citizens. When new law is enacted, they're going to enforce the new law. Enough with the silence, enough with the evasiveness, enough with the secrets. Release the video. We want the truth. Christine Dallas want the truth. Her family want the truth. Lauderdale County is effectively using the HB 289 for releasing the video. Why not Mobile County? Release the video and justice for Jay.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, City Council.
Reggie Hill.
Pardon me?
Hold on.
Mr. Carroll?
Ms. Woods, is there any basis in Lauderdale County to establish some type of precedence on release of footage based on what?
So here's what I can tell you. I'm not particularly sure about what's going on in Lauderdale County, but what I can tell you is that this specifically deals with the Grand Jury Secrecy Act. If there was no grand jury impaneled, or if we had not already submitted this information, when I say this information, the video, that's been submitted to the DA's office, meaning it is grand jury material, okay? If you're dealing with a grand jury, there is no exception. There's no exception for city council. There's no exception for city attorney. There's no exception for the mayor's office. And unfortunately, there's no exception for grieving families. That is not the way it works. Lauderdale County is probably not dealing with the Grand Jury Secrecy Act. State law applies in Alabama across the board in all 67 counties, including Mobile County. You don't have an exception here.
Yeah, would you so kindly look into what Lauderdale County is doing and see if there's a parallel there that may be a parallel to our city here?
Be more than happy to.
The other thing is that it sounds like the family thinks that the point of death was at the point of the tasering. Is it all right for me to ask you that question? Where was the point of death? That was sometime after the tasering, correct?
I can tell you, look, the short answer is yes, but what I can tell you is we don't know the cause of death. I understand the question you're asking.
But they're asking for to see any video of that timeline. So would there not be some video in the hospital or where he was brought into the hospital to see how his state of condition after the taser?
So no, but I can tell you all of the video, all of the information is considered grand jury material, because once you turn it over to them and they're submitting it and you have witnesses. So I'll go back to that 12-16-216. It is very broad. And that subsection 225 is even shorter and more thorough about whether or not it is a felony. It says all persons and shall. That's me, you, and everybody else in this room.
Wasn't referring to body cam video. I was referring to video that may be at the hospital or med center where he was brought to.
That's something we wouldn't have control over. That's something that wouldn't be in our possession.
That they could request it from that location.
Absolutely.
I think that.
And unless it's been submitted to the grand jury, that's a different story.
If I were their lawyer, I would be asking.
And that's not in our possession.
I understand that.
Right.
All right, Mr. Penn?
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Attorney Woods, you stated that about the Grand Jury Secrecy Act, right?
Correct.
Now, is that a state legislative?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So I think it's very vital to understand that what we talked about earlier today with the railroads, that the city council don't have that type of authority. Those laws in places are on the state legislature.
That is right. That's correct.
For me, and where I stand, I believe the family should see it. I believe they have that right. But from my authority as a council member, I don't have that. And so that let me know that it's certain things that we have to do on a larger scale for situations like this not to happen because of these type of laws in place. We have to also take it to our state legislators as well. We have to write, and I'm willing to also write in support as well. So I will be writing a letter from my office stating the support that we have to start looking at these different aspects, because it's very vital for me, for the family. I understand the concern. And I stated before in the past that cameras are not just to support when a situation happens, but also support the person, the police officers. If I know I haven't done nothing wrong, please show the video. And so,
all right,
until we have those type of laws in place, from us as council members, we don't have that authority. But what we can do is we can support putting things like that in place. And my office will be supporting that. And I ask the other constituents to join in and other organizations to support these type of changes that we need to see throughout our state. Thank you, Madam Vice President.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Reggie Hill.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. And for time's sake, I'm going to save the discussion about the Pillars Challenge for another date and focus on just the recommendations for the FY24 budget. To the citizens and stakeholders of Mobile, greetings. Reggie Hill is my name. Excuse me. In times past, the livelihood of a slave was based on the character of a slave master. Fast forward to 2024, and the livelihood for the city of Mobile is based on the character of you all seated here before us. I rise today to lean into such character as it relates to the fiscal year 24 budget. I ask that you would see beyond your personal perception of the presenter and acknowledge the voice of all 7 districts represented in my petition. With respect for 180 seconds and prior requests, I have already submitted the plethora of my questions. Rightfully so, I extend the hand of gratitude for your promised timely response, both to Chairman Daves and Director Sept. Today, I want to reiterate, however, those items that were not included or only briefly mentioned in my communications with the respective finance delegates. Let's begin with ARP. We understand of the housing crisis. I hope that we will see something that is going to tackle that before investing our resources into it. While we do have hope that it's being implemented, we see that it's not doing anything with the demolition of structures, which we see so much about here week after week. Have we thought about startup business capital for entities that may have initiatives that would actually improve the quality of life for the city of Mobile, but do not have the capacity to do so? I would actually suggest that there be an increase to discretionary funds. We see too often that the city says we do not have the resources to serve some of these needs, where we can increase it through the districts. We might be able to meet those needs directly. Community center fees. We're hoping that as well we can see where there'll be resources put so that citizens don't have to pay to rent out facilities that we already pay for. We don't have time to get through all of these, but the performance contracts, the CIP, I would like us to look at drainage, and instead of a city wide approach, instead of a district-wide approach, I would like us to see a city-wide approach, tackling those priorities that are most necessary at this moment. Public safety. Police sensitivity training is absolutely necessary. It seems that there are certain individuals who are just targeted selectively. So until we actually do something with our resources towards this matter, I think it's only going to get worse. As well, has there been any adjustments made for increasing the resources in the city clerk's office? This is so that even staffers could be put in place for each district office, and so that when public records are requested, that can be easily made available to the citizens. As well, with our riverfront, I'm asking if anyone could just grant an additional minute, please.
Was that 3 minutes or was that only 2?
I give him a minute.
That's 3.
That was 3?
I give him a minute.
All right, Mr. Penn is brief.
Thank you so much, Mr. Penn. As well, I would hope that we are looking at the riverfront. I know that this may be extreme for most people, but I believe we could do away with the convention center, because those same activities that are hosted there could or used to be hosted at the Civic Center. I think if we developed it properly, as we've seen in such sister cities such as Savannah and New Orleans, we could use those resources to fund the Civic Center. We see that we spent up to about $40 million there, but yet we don't have a copper penny on the inside yet. I only have a couple more points, and I thank you for allowing me the additional time. With our public services, is there any comparative data for privatizing our sanitation obligations versus keeping the services within the department? We know that we spent about $1.5 million just to I would say service our newly annexed areas, but I don't think that that's something that might be as beneficial. We can keep it in-house. So again, I look forward to those questions being answered. Thank you for allowing the additional time.
Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Ordinance is held over. 64044, consider approval of a proposed modification of a PUD located at 2609 Cameron Street. 64045, consider approval of a proposed modification of a PUD at 350, 400, 530, and 660 Dunlap Drive.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolutions held over. 01980, authorized agreement with ALDOT for U.S. Highway 45 streetscape improvements. 01981, authorized cruise terminal and berthing agreement with Carnival Cruise Line. 01982, authorized agreement with Jonathan Ames to provide tennis lessons and clinics. 08983 and 984 are approving purchase orders for fuel for various city departments and for the Wave Transit System. 08985, approved purchase order to AutoNation Ford for Ford pickup trucks. 2 Ford pickup trucks. 08986, approved purchase order to McKinney Petroleum Equipment to replace garage grease, room tanks, pumps, and dispensing equipment. 08987, approved purchase order to Waste Equip Manufacturing Company for recycle bin compactor for DIP Recycling Center. 08988, approved purchase order to Emergency Equipment Professional for a tethered camera for Mobile Fire Rescue Department. 08989, approved purchase order to Best Price Services for storm ditch clearing. 08900, approved purchase order to Truck Equipment Sales for 5 Ford crew cab trucks with landscape bodies and 3 contractor dump bodies. 08991, approved purchase order to Vector Solutions for annual renewal of learning performance management and apparatus checklist software. 08992, approved purchase order to Smart Surround for fencing for DIP recycling drop-off site. 09993, transfer funds from the general fund to the capital project fund for invasive species removal at Brooklyn by the Bay. 09994, allocate funds from unassigned fund balance to general fund to various capital projects. 13995, authorize change order number 1 with McElhaney Construction Company for construction of the 3 Mile Creek Greenway Trail. 13996, authorize change order number 2 with WSP USA Environment and Infrastructure for completion of the Stormwater Manual Volume 1. 21998, authorized contract with Sane Associates for Government Street and Royal Street traffic signal improvements.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Consent resolutions being introduced, 021000 through 601013.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I move that we waive the rule and take up for immediate consideration these items.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
021000, authorized memorandum of understanding with Mobile County for transition of city services into annexed areas. 311001, authorize a grant application to the Recycling Partnership Foundation for the residential drop-off recycling grant program, no local match. 371002, 1003, 1004, and 1005 are recommended approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a retail common carrier license to Carnival Spirit, for issuance of a special events retail license to Sip and Paint in Mardi Gras Park, for issuance of a special events more than 60 days license to Hampton Inn, and for issuance of a special events more than 60 days license to Home to Suites by Hilton Tillman's Corner. 601010, approval water special bonus to the Public Works Employee of the Month, and 601011, approval and award a special bonus to the Parks and Recreation Employee of the Month. 601012 and 1013 are determining appropriations to Dearborn YMCA serves a public purpose and approving payment, and to Mobile Law Enforcement Foundation, Inc. serves a public purpose and approving payment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
401006 and 401007 are declaring the structures at 170 North Ann Street and 1112 Newman Lane public nuisances and ordering them demolished.
Motion to lay with 30 days.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed?
401008, declare the structure at 325 East I-65 Service Road, south of public nuisance, and order it demolished or secured.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Oh, go
Yes,
ahead.
ma'am. Thank you.
Discussion?
Yes. I'd like to offer an amendment
All
on this
right.
one to strike, order it demolished / secured, and have it just ordered it demolished.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on the amendment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Back to the original as amended.
Call for the question.
Just call for the question.
That's what I just said. Back to the original. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
40-1009, declare the structure at 259 Border Drive West a public nuisance and order it demolished.
Move to table.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolutions being introduced for the first time, 01-1014 through 09-1030.
By council rules, these items will lay over for 1 week.
Call for public hearings. 41-1028, call for public hearing to rezone property located at 258 North Hamilton Street and 263 North Franklin Street from T4 and T5.1 to T4, scheduled October 17th.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Announcements.
All right, we'll start with Mr. Woods.
No announcements.
All right, Mr. Carroll.
No announcements.
Mr. Daves.
Yes, I'd like to announce that the Finance Committee will have a meeting in the 9th floor City Council conference room at 1 o'clock this afternoon in order to go over the proposed fiscal 2024 budget. This will be a work session. There will be no public comment taken.
Mr. Penn.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. We will have our Midtown Community Meeting Tuesday, September the 19th at 6 p.m. at Spring Hill Avenue United Methodist Church West Side Campus, 269 Mohawk Street. Please join me and neighbors as we discuss animal control concerns. There will be a short time for questions and answers at the end of the meeting with Animal Services. And so our 311 team will also be there. So please come out, invite all the neighbors. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Reynolds. All right, my announcement this week is that I will be participating along with the Ransom team to volunteer at the St. Paul's Annual Poverty Simulation. It's for the freshman class. There will be a number of stations and role-playing, and I will be one of the Ransom volunteers, so everyone is welcome to come out and check it out. It starts at 7:30 a.m. and runs until about 11 o'clock. Any announcements from the administration?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right.